Hey everyone, my name's Michael. Welcome to another episode of In the Ballpark, another vlog from me from the sunny state of California. It's still summer here, it's still hot, but I am loving it. It's the start of September and coming up to our last homestand of the year, and potentially the YOLO High Wheelers are in a frame for playoffs, which is super duper exciting in our very first season. And on a personal level, I am back in Woodland with my host family. I am in between moving properties. My 3-month lease has expired. I've packed up the place. I've been on my knees scrubbing the floors, detailing the walls. I'm pretty much ready to move into my new place in Davis, which is super exciting. Pretty hard to believe that I've been here for over 3 months. Just in a blink of an eye, we're nearly finished our season regular, being in and amongst the team. Not only the front office staff, from the coaches, the bat boys, casual staff that work all of our games, getting to know the team, which has been really awesome. I'm really appreciative that the players are really receptive to all the media stuff that we get to do, and I really enjoy being able to get the players to embrace the camera, embrace the media stuff, embrace the spotlight and telling their story, which is wonderful. And a lot of them have so many different journeys. They come from all over the country and they're all just genuinely motivated and interested in playing baseball and really believe in themselves, believe in the future, have really enjoyed the pathways that have led them to the YOLO High Wheeler organisation and empower and project their narratives across the major league affiliate landscape. It's pretty awesome to be able to be a major part of that. It's really cool when you get to meet other Australians here in the US as well. Recently, we had the Boise Hawks from Idaho come and play a 6-game series in Davis, and Doug Greenwald, who's our play-by-play commentator, he comes over to me and he goes, "Oh, Michael, you're not going to believe this. There's a guy who is an Australian pitcher, and he's currently one of the pitching coaches for the Boise Hawks. I need to introduce you." And anyway, Doug knows everyone in the baseball world. He is very well connected. His dad, Hank, was a play-by-play commentator for the Giants, and Doug, in his own right, has done so much in the baseballing world. He is a fountain of knowledge, and listening to him call a game is actually a pleasure. He's so good in those excitable moments where something happens in the game, and he explains it really well. He explains it like you could be listening to the game for the very first time. And for all the experts out there, he tells such great stories of all the axes of connection within the baseballing realm. And he just has a really unique way of telling those stories and putting a point of importance on every single play and every single player, which I think a lot of commentators struggle with. But with Doug, it comes really naturally. Listening to what he's able to do is pretty awesome. And weirdly, Doug was born in Australia. I don't know how that happened. It's funny, off air, Doug's always comparing different large snakes and marsupials, and we always have a lot of banter around the big sporting codes. I got a little sidetracked there, but Travis coaches the Boise Hawks. Travis and I got talking and were able to bond over just how difficult the visa process is. We're both very passionate Essendon supporters, so we were talking about how disappointed we were that Dyson Heppel didn't get a send-off game in Melbourne, complaining about that, and all these baseball players are kind of looking at us going, what are these Australians talking about? It was really nice meeting him, and he's got a big Australian tattoo on his arm, and Doug was joking about getting a big American tattoo now that he's at least in the process of becoming a citizen here in the US. Always nice seeing Aussies working in the baseball field, and he's certainly one of those ones that has had a lot of success, and it's always a joy getting to meet those guys, that's for sure. Currently, as I record this episode, second spot for the second half of the season. It's a little bit funny, in the Pioneer Baseball League, you can have a really good first half of the season and finish top 2, clinch a playoff spot, and then be really terrible in the second half and still have that first half of the season playoff spot. It's a little bit strange. And for us, it's like we kind of broke even in the first half of the season, but we're kind of middle of the table. But the second half of the season, we went on the road, we went above 500. Here we are at home, winning 5 out of 6 games against the Boise Hawks, who were well and truly on top of the table at the very start of the second half of the season. You know, I'm not going to say we have their number, but we've certainly found ways of being able to beat them and be able to play really well against them. So it really sets up a exciting and scintillating and cutthroat series against Oakland. The two NorCal rivals would be playing each other off for playoff spots. No one could have written a better script than that. So yeah, very exciting time for the Yolo High Wheelers, playing very well. Been getting to know the players and the coaches a lot more, and there's a real buzz around the group, and there's more fans coming out. Hopefully we make it. Let's go High Wheelers. Come on, let's go. And yeah, on a personal level, it's been a really great time. Been really enjoying nature, been enjoying getting into a routine. I think it's just a really exciting place to do your craft, make your dreams come true, and it's a really wholesome community here, and I've definitely felt the love of the community indeed. And also my family back in Australia. My nephew's just turned 1 year old and they've just recently celebrated Father's Day there. So obviously it's still hard being away from my family. You know, I miss them every day, but I think the fact that I can bring them on my journey by doing videos like this, by having FaceTimes, by doing recorded messages and videos, I think we live in a really good time where home doesn't feel that far away because you see your family constantly online. And yes, it doesn't trade out actually being there in person with someone and giving them a hug and talking to them in real life, but you can still have a connection from afar, and I think that technology has really brought people closer. My American friends and extended family here in the US, I was really able to keep those connections alive, which has really helped when I've came back here, and it's just like we've picked up from where we left off last time, which is really unique. So I definitely believe that technology does have a lot of benefits in that way. And just finally as well, like there's some funny nuances. I recently got a pretty bad ear infection in my left ear. It has benefits. Like if you don't understand what someone's saying, you can go, "What? Sorry, can you speak up? Can you talk into this ear, please?" The medical support here was really tested, and initially spoke to 3 different doctors' clinics that were right around the corner from where I was living at the time, and all of them had massive wait lists. I knew something was up with my ear. It had felt like someone had punched me in the jaw during the night, and the next day I just couldn't walk into any random clinic and get it checked out. Antibiotics you have to buy over the counter, and with some antibiotics here in the US, you can only get them if you're a US or Canadian citizen, or if you've actually gotten a doctor's prescription. Thankfully, through the cover that I actually have, they managed to write me out a prescription to this certain antibiotic, was able to reduce the inflammation. But again, I had to have the right hospital cover for that. I had to see that doctor online. Now they're assessing something in my ear remotely based on all the symptoms that I had, based on where I think it came from. And I think it came from swimming in a pool that had a lot of chemicals in it, and then not washing out my ear that night, and pretty much sleeping with those chemicals in my ear, and then the next morning having a really inflamed ear, or as they call it here, swimmer's ear. And so I definitely messed up not cleaning out the ear properly, but I'd never had that issue before. Eventually, because I was not getting the right support and it was not clearing up, I was just like, you know what? I am just gonna go to an urgent care facility and get someone to look at it. And in the end, that's actually where I got the antibiotics from, was from a doctor actually looking into the ear and going, yeah, you've got a minor ear infection, take these ear drops, take these antibiotics and you should be fine. And in the end, it has cleared up. I had to go to the absolute urgent care in order to get it addressed, which was pretty crazy to think about. But again, with a lot of things here in the US, if you don't have a social security number, if you don't have potentially a residential address or a driver's license or a I-94, which is essentially your travel history to the United States, you won't be able to get stuff. So you just got to make sure you have all the right documentation, and then eventually you can get it. I recently went for my driver's license, failed the first test because I did not study for it, and then I studied really hard for the second test and ended up getting my driver's license. The DMV has some pretty crazy wait times, so it's always good to come prepared with an appointment. So like I got my practical driver's test, paid the fee for the real ID, paid the fee for the driver's license, went in person, got all the photos done, did like the eye reading charts, and then they go, "Oh, you're from Australia." And it's like, yeah, didn't the foreign passport give that away? And the lady's like, "Yeah, cool, that's fine, but you'll have to sit a driver's test because we deemed the roads too different, they pretty much told me on the spot after I'd pretty much filled out all the paperwork and done everything right that I'd still have to go and sit a driver's exam. So got a driver's license in the mail, but I can't drive by myself until I do the driver's test, which would have been handy to know before I went and visited the DMV. But anyway, these are life lessons. You learn them along the way. So what's next for me? Have my last homestand with the Yolo High Wheelers, and then we're into the off season. I feel like a lot of water to go under the bridge in this final series, so it's going to be exciting. I obviously can't talk too much until the series is over, but it's exciting. And then I move into my new place very soon, which is really exciting. Obviously a massive shout out to my host family here, Leslie and Andrew. They've been huge in helping me move from property to property. Their daughters, Corey and Olivia, have just been incredible with their support. The AFL finals start really soon as well. I've got my AFL Watch International Pass, so I'll have to be waking up pretty early for some of those games, 2:30, 10:30 p.m. My Dons aren't playing in the final series, which hurts, but I'm sure myself, Sammy, Jimmy, we're all going to be talking about the results. And thank you for following my personal journey here in the US. As always, don't just have a good night, have an American night, and let's ride. Come on! Woo!